When I think about 9/11, I got on my subway to go downtown. When you went to change at Chambers Street, there was confusion because the next stop is Cortlandt Street, World Trade Center, and it actually lets you off into World Trade Center. The stop after that is my stop, which is Rector Street. And so suddenly the train at Chambers Street went, and it stopped at Cortlandt Street, World Trade Center. But it was after 8:45. The plane had already hit the building, plane one. And so I think about it because I can remember somebody getting off the train back then and walking right into the Trade Center. It was a man, and he had his attaché case, and I always remember that. And he was walking into complete mayhem. I got out at Rector Street and standing on the sidewalk, actually getting my cup of coffee like I always do. My office was across the street at 2 Rector Street. And something wasn't right. Somebody said a plane had hit the building. And so think about how goofy it is. I mean, you really think it's a Cessna. Well, because it was swallowed up by that building, if you recall. Nobody knew what it was. And so as we were there just kind of chatting for maybe a minute like that, shaking our heads, the papers are coming out of the building, a lady came down the street crying, and she said there are body parts all over the street. And so we knew something was up, and at that moment, the plane full bore races over my right shoulder and into the building. And you know, you stood there, and it was earth-shaking, and you really felt it in your core, the pain, the sickness, the discomfort. I can't even really describe, but in your abdomen, you really felt it. And at that point, a gentleman next to me just yelled, "It's a terrorist attack." And then you start running, and I'm south of the building, so I'm running towards the nearby tip of Manhattan. And you're thinking in your mind, the building is 1,000 feet tall. Let me get at least 2,000 feet away in case the building falls down. And so, you know, made it to the tip of Manhattan and then started walking due north. You know, the two things as I walked due north for the next 2 hours or so was just the blast of sirens going towards danger, of police cars and fire engines just going towards danger. Meanwhile, I'm trying to go away from it. And I kept walking, and as you know, cut across on Canal Street, and at that point, the second building tilted. The famous scene that you saw of the building, the antenna tips, and the building goes down right there. And I remember a young lady bursting into tears, you know, by me at that point. And I just kept walking across town, up to the west side, and all the way up to the 59th Street Bridge, and kind of, you know, it was a long day. It was a long day. You do get flashbacks. That lasted about 6 months. You get post-traumatic stress disorder. For me, it was about 6 months. But you know, what it really did was it made me think deep, and it made me think deeply about what I cared about New York City. And it was different for me. It was just different from that point forward, and I wanted my kids to have something fresh, and move to Richmond a year later.